Hello, everybody. Wait a few minutes, let everybody jump on. Trying to see, I've never used the tripod before, and I'm trying to see the best way to have the machine setting where you can see it all. Put my glasses on so I can see if anybody's on there. Not yet, and that's fine. Hello, hello. Welcome to Sewing Basics 101, lesson number 2. I think you can see it there pretty good. I'm going to talk about 2 different machines today. This one is a sewing and embroidery machine. I'm not going to talk about the embroidery part of it today, so I'm going to remove this portion of it, which you only need for embroidery. And we're just going to talk about the sewing machine portion of it. Here, I have a screen. This is a computerized machine. And some people might like a computerized machine for various reasons. But I wanted it because I wanted the embroidery machine portion of it. But the machine is a beautiful machine. And so what I wanted to do is go over just some basic things like how to thread the machine, the different types of needles and stuff. So on this one, it has a thread stand. I've moved it down in hopes that I could get it in the picture there. But like I said, I'm not used to this tripod thing. And I borrowed it from my daughter, and I'm going to get one for myself. Maybe I'll be able to figure it out. But it has a guide here that you put it through. Then there's one here. And it goes up and around. And you always want to have your pressure foot up when you're doing your threading your machine. And it's just a up and down and around type of deal. And then I'm putting my foot down. I can use a threader that's on it. It pulls it through, and I just have to pull it. So that part's really nice. Hello, whoever's here. And then the bobbin. I'll get another bobbin and show you how I wind a bobbin in a few minutes, but I'll probably do it on the other machine because it's the more basic machine. And this just goes around and threads through the guides. And you'll have a manual that comes with whatever machine you buy, and it will tell you the exact steps of threading your machine because every machine threads a little differently. So this is just some of the things. Some of the reasons that people like an electronic machine. I don't know if I'm close enough where you can see. I'll move it up a little closer and get it in a little closer for you. Is there are lots of stitches and things on these kind of machines. And you can pick what kind of stitches you want just by pushing the button, and it'll give you a list of stitches. And you can just pick one, and it'll do that particular thing. If you're just wanting to, right now it's sitting on the embroidery, so I want to click it over to sewing machine. And here's all of my stitches. And this is the one I use the most, the one in the center where the needle's in the center. And for it, you adjust your tension on the computer portion of this because that's how it's set up. And I brought this one in here to show you tonight just because I wanted to try to explain the difference in a computerized machine versus a mechanical machine. So this one here is like if you need to move this is your needle position. It's set in center. And if you were sewing something and you messed it up, we'll say, and you took it out and you wanted to put it right back in and you couldn't get it to line up just exactly like you wanted it to, you could either move it to the left or move it to the right, just in little tiny increments. And that's what you do with that. This is for your stitch length. And then for tension, you would go to the different things, but you would pick whatever type of material you were working with. This one also has a built-in button holder. You can sew buttons on with it. It just has a variety of things that you can do that is not in a mechanical machine. So that's why I wanted to show you this machine. But now I'm going to switch and show you the mechanical machine. I'm not going to turn it off. I'm going to just slide it back, hopefully, and slide the other one over here, if I can, without tearing everything up. Okay, move that behind it. And this is my old and trusted Singer Mechanical. Let me move that back some more. Try to get it turned where you can see it. As you can see, it doesn't have all the bells and whistles. It's just a plain mechanical machine out of metal. And I thought I would try to show you how to thread it, because this is how the majority of machines are threaded. Your spool goes on here, or if you've got a larger spool, you can put it on back here, on this. And there's a little bobbin thing that you can put on there to keep it from moving. But you always want your thread to be coming from the back. You never want it to come from the front. Me, I like to do mine this way, and it's coming from the front. There's a thread guide back here at the back, and I pulled it through it. Then I come around this and down through that, and right around this and up, and bring it down, back and forward, and then around and around, and now it's in there. Then there's a little guide, usually right up above where the needle is. You flip that in there, and then you thread your needle. Just like this. Okay, here, and I've got a different thread type in here, but I'm going to just show you based on what I've got. Here, you always want to have, like, if it has a name on it, like this is Singer. This is a bobbin that only goes in Singers. You can buy a lot of bobbins that don't say Singer on it, but you'll have the best luck with winding them and everything if you're using a Singer bobbin. So you put that in, you bring it around, and you let it catch in that hook, and then you close it back up. And then you hold your thread that you've got on the down, and you turn the wheel. Can y'all see me turning the wheel? Yeah, I've got it in there. I wasn't sure. So you turn your wheel as you hold this, and it pulls it up. And then you just grab that thread that's pulled up, and you pull it out, and now your machine's threaded. Your top and bottom threads are there. And that's how you do that. Now, I have got a special foot on here, but to remove it, you just take a screwdriver and undo this, and it'll just come off. And then your other feet just snap on. That's pretty basic on a metal machine. And I would suggest anybody starting out to get a basic machine. Unless you have sewn before and you know what you're doing. The basic machine won't tear up as often. This one is a Singer, and it's a heavy-duty machine, and I'm thinking it cost about $199. But you can get a machine for as little as $88. That's a plain machine. And it has seam guide things here on the side. And what you do, you always want to make sure that you're using the right needle for what you're sewing with. I have a large needle in here right now because I was sewing something thick. If you're doing jeans or leather or anything like that, you need at least a 20 to 22 needle. Most sewing projects won't require but maybe a 14 or 16 needle if you're doing clothing or quilts or things like that, something like that. And this is a cotton thread. Now what I use in my embroidery machine is a polyester bonded thread. Cotton is not as sturdy of a thread to use, but it has its purpose just like everything else does. The bonded nylon, I pretty much use it for everything anymore. I've kind of gotten away from cotton. Over time, cotton will rot, and it doesn't stay good. And I haven't found that to be the case with the bonded nylon or the polyester thread. And these are called a domestic or mechanical machine. And what I do is there are little screws in here, and you can undo that, and you can take it off, and you can look at it. You can clean it out. You can do whatever you need to do. These things just pop open. You can flip it over. This comes off. You can clean all underneath in case there's threads and stuff that get caught up in the bottom of it. It's real easy to take apart and put back together. I don't do that very often, maybe twice a year, just to make sure I don't have any threads and things that are in the way. I oil my machine. I oiled it yesterday when I was looking at it. And there are little holes here and here and here. And there's a hole right up here behind this thread guide. And everywhere there's a little hole, you just put a drop of oil in it. And you want to oil your machine after about 8 hours of use. You want to keep that machine oiled because that's what keeps these metal parts from getting rusty and keeps them going. And that is pretty basically what you've got on a machine. You've got a hand crank. You've got, this will make it go backwards and forwards when you mash on it. This is for buttonholes, different kinds. This is for your stitch length here from 0 to 5. If you put it on 0, it ain't going nowhere. It's just going to sit there and run up and down straight. And where's my... Let me show you what I mean. Here's my foot pedal. I'm just going to bring it up here in my hand. Oop. Let's put this over here. Okay. So it just runs straight up and down. It won't. The feed dogs won't move. So that wouldn't do you any good. So you have to have it on a length, and I usually run mine on 2 to 2.5 for just a standard seam. And if I'm doing top stitching, I'll take it up to maybe 4, just to give it a nice longer look. And like I said, if you're just starting out, a basic machine is really all you need. But if you think I'm going to want to do more when I get into this more, then by all means get a computerized machine. It costs more, but there's a lot more you can do with it. And when I bought this, you have to understand, I've had these machines for many years. This embroidery machine was top of the line when it came out, and I've had it for 19 years. And now they can do so much more and for so much less money. This machine was very expensive when I bought it, and but it has been worth every penny. And I've only had to have it in the shop twice, and that was because a computer board went out in it. And I was able to get it fixed for about, I think it was about $250. So that wasn't too bad. But again, if anything else goes out on it, I'd be better off to buy a new machine, because the other thing that could go out on it is the major control board, and that's expensive. So I would trade it in before I did that. But I know that Brother has a good machine. I think it's $88. I think Walmart carries it. And if you're wanting to teach your children how to sew, and you want to get them a machine, don't buy them a toy machine. Please don't buy them a toy machine. A toy machine is just that, and it won't last. It won't be worth the money that you spend on it. Buy them the $88 Brother machine. Spend a little more on them, because they can use it for a long, long time. And they're not so heavy. They're lightweight. They come with a case. You can put them in, and you can carry them to wherever you need to go. If you want to, you're going to Mama's for the weekend, and you want them to learn how to quilt, and Mama knows how to quilt. Well, they can take their little machine and go sit up beside Mama and learn to sew. And I'm going to be showing all of you all things on these machines as we go along, but I just wanted to come on and try to explain to you about the different kinds of machines, because if you're going to get into sewing, you need a machine, and you need to know which kind to buy. And my true opinion is that the mechanical machine is the best deal for you if you're starting out. If you don't know anything at all about sewing, it's usually pretty straightforward on threading from here to here to here, and down and up and down. And the mechanical machine, it's the same. I mean, the computer machine, it's the same thing. It's just it got a different route that it has to take. But all machines thread basically the same way. There's a starting point and a stopping point. They all have a bobbin winder on them anymore. They didn't used to. But let me see if I can show you without going too far out. This has a little notch that moves, and when you move it in, it locks your bobbin in place. And you have to lift your presser foot up from the back, and then just like you're sewing, it'll just sew it thing, and it'll just turn it up here. You run your thread through and straight to your bobbin, and it'll do that. And I'll show you all that more when we get to sewing, which we're not far from. I've got one or two more lessons that are just talking about the different other things that you'll need. And one is on fabrics, and then the next big one is going to be on patterns. And I do hope that you can all be with me by the time I do patterns. And if not, that you can go in and watch it. I am sending these to YouTube and uploading them, because it told me that they would only be on Facebook for 30 days. So I have got a YouTube channel, Kay Terry's Treasures, and I uploaded my last video on it, and I'll upload this one on there. And that way you can go back at any time and watch them. Oh, Jan, I hope that your granddaughter will want to learn. But like I'm saying, if you've got a machine they can learn on, that's great. If you want to get them a machine of their own where they can do it when they want to, then by all means, don't buy them a toy machine. Just do not. That is like throwing money away. You just don't want to, because the toy machines cost almost $40. And then by the time you add tax, well, I'd rather spend twice that and get a real machine for them. A machine that's going to last them. Going to take them right on until they're ready for a nice computerized machine that does all kinds of things like mine does. And like I said, mine is also an embroidery machine. It's not just a sewing machine. But I will be doing those 2 lessons, one on fabrics, the different kinds of fabrics, what you need to know. Yes, I'm recording them, Jan. And I felt called to do this. I felt like there was too many people that don't know how to do anything when it comes to sewing. And my goodness, I've been sewing for, golly, almost 60 years. So I was making my own clothes by the time I was 9. And I was hand sewing by the time I was probably 6. And I'm going to do a couple of things with hand sewing for kids and a few little projects that you can do with your grandkids and kids, and they can feel proud of what they're making and make them hopefully want to go into it a little more. But next time we're going to be talking about the different kinds of fabrics and what they're used for. And I hope that everybody will be with me by the 4th lesson, a week after next, when we start on patterns and how to read a pattern and what all the things mean on a pattern. Because then once you know how to read a pattern, there isn't anything you can't do. It might take you a little while, but you can do it. And they can do it too. Kids can do it too, because it don't just have words on it, that tells you what to do. It has illustrations typically that shows you right side, wrong side, putting them together, all that. But I want to explain all of that to everybody. And like I said, you can go to Kay Terry's Treasures on YouTube and find my videos there. I'll load this one up after we get off here. And next week we will be talking about, as I said, fabrics, what they're used for, why you use that particular kind of fabric for what you're using it for, things that I have made out of different types of material. I can tell you that. But your kids, there's going to be a hand lesson too, I guess, before I start the actual sewing lesson, and I'll tell you after we do our pattern what they'll need for the next week. And it will be felt. I can go ahead and tell you that. You'll need some felt squares. And you will need some pinking shears. And you will need some hand sewing needles and some thread. And you'll need some cotton stuffing, because I'm going to make some. Yes, I hope some of you can get better at sewing too. I hope I can inspire y'all. We're going to make some little pretend food things for kids to play with in their little kitchens when they're little. That could be for your children or your grandchildren or your great-grandchildren, whatever. A nice, cute little gift for them. We'll make some cookies and some bacon and eggs and different things like that. I'll show them how to cut them out. Sewing is an art. And art is part of the whole thing. Any kind of art. And I want to have different people come on every month. And next month will be my first month of interviewing someone. I'm interviewing my sister-in-law, Sharon, and she does chalk couture. And she will do that. And that will be in addition to the sewing lessons. That's not going to replace a sewing lesson, okay? That's going to be in addition to a sewing lesson. And every month I'm going to interview someone who does different things. Jan, if you're still on here, I would love to interview you about painting, because I know that you are a great painter. So I would love to interview you about that and have you do a segment on what kids can do for starting painting, and or anyone for that matter. Maybe do a project on the live with them. And I think that's what Sharon's going to do, is a live showing how to make something, whether it's a wall decor or some other crafty thing that she makes with that they use those stencils for. But that's really all I've got today. And I appreciate so many of you coming on. And I will be back next week. And I'm sorry that I am not all set up like maybe I should be doing. Oh, thank you, Jan. I appreciate it. Might do you for May. I want to have someone who knits, someone who crochets. Just all different forms of art. It doesn't have to be sewing, but to me, sewing is an art. And embroidery is an art, and hand embroidery is an art. So we're going to look at all those things and hand stitching and things like that. But the very first thing that I want us to do is go over all the basic things that we need to know. And then we'll have them there for them to go back and rewatch, especially pattern, reading a pattern. And I look forward to teaching you all that. As I said, I felt led to do this. I kept having this nagging feeling at me that I needed to be teaching people how to sew. And there's so much that goes into it beforehand. Last week was talking about just the basic tools that you might want to get before you start. But this is your biggest tool right here, is your sewing machine. And I'm not saying this is the best, okay? It probably is not. I think probably from all the machines that I have used, I probably like the Brother the best, especially for learning. I think that it's pretty simple in how it's set up, and everyone that I know that has one has had it for years, and they are still they're still making those little machines. And like I said, I've seen them at Walmart for like $88. So don't buy your kids no toy machine. If they really want to learn how to sew, get them a machine that they can use for a long, long time. Because they might think they want to, and then they quit, and then they want to get back into it, and they quit. At least they've got something they can use. So, again, that's all I got. And I appreciate y'all for joining me. I thank you. I don't know how to set this up to where it doesn't move around. But again, it's not mine. I borrowed it for tonight. And I hope I have one of my own next week and I can see how it works. And I thank you for joining me. And I'll see you all next Monday. Thanks. Bye-bye.